Our next speaker, actually, Gemma bridged it quite nicely at the end of her presentation, is facing changes in our, rapidly changing society from a policy perspective, and that's a challenge in itself. So we've invited Gert Bergen here as advisor of digital agenda, amongst other things, for Minister Meuters, Flemish Minister for Employment and Economy, to share his views on what failure actually means for Flemish society and Flemish policymaking. Thank you for being here, Gert.
Good morning, everybody. In the good old kindergarten tradition of show and tell, I brought this little ruler with me that I would like to tell a story about. What do I want to tell this about, and why did I bring it? It's this little ruler that I keep on my desk at the office where I work now for the minister, because it reminds me of a couple of things. So, what does it remind me of? It's not just a ruler, it's actually a little piece of merchandising for a little company that I had back when I was at university. And as you probably might have guessed, since I brought this ruler and it's for a Failing Forward conference, this little company sort of blew up pretty bad. So I'm going to tell you the story about how exactly did it blow up and what did I learn about it, and that's the reason why I keep it on my desk. So, why did I start this company and what did the company do? When I was in university, I was in law school, and as you might imagine, when you're in law school, you have quite a bit of spare time on your hands. So what you do as a student, you look for a way to make money with the things that they're teaching you. So I went and have a look in the university town, and I find some private tutoring firms. I'm sure you have them in all the university towns that you guys studied at. Basically what they do is they provide some tutoring to students to help them with the difficult courses. So I started working out for one of these firms. And basically, when I was working there, I noticed that they were doing this in a rather old-fashioned way, which really wasn't as customer-friendly as it could be. So basically, I noticed that they were offering only these type of package deals. If a student came to one of these firms, they basically said, okay, we're going to tutor you, but you have to take a minimum 10 hours, you have to pay all of it up front, etc. So it really wasn't all that flexible and all that nice of an experience from the students. And actually some of the students that I was tutoring also told me this, yeah, I don't know why they work like this, but all the companies do it. So I thought to myself, in the quote of the good old Jeremy Clarkson, how hard can it be to do this just slightly better and not have to give 70% of my wage away to the guy that I'm working for? So basically that's what we did. We set up our own private tutoring shop together with a friend of mine that was also working over there. And because all of the existing companies had these tacky Latin names like Rebus and Memento and stuff like that, we just thought, okay, to fit in, we're also gonna get like this tacky Latin name and call it Studium, which is what's on the ruler and is the name of the company that we founded. Fast forward a little bit, we made our website, we got this nice bootstrap design from a friend of ours that's in design, and we started up our shop. We moved into this nice, crisp downtown office, which at the time also doubled as the apartment where I lived with my girlfriend. And basically, we started getting our first customers. Fast forward a little bit, by the end of the semester, we were doing like 60, 70 hours of tutoring a week, and it was getting pretty big. We were excited. We didn't expect it to go so well. We were hiring people all over the place. It was a nice experience to actually have people working for you instead of working for another guy. So I really enjoyed it. But at the end of the year, basically we had this quite successful little tutoring company we started up, but then we had this thought, yeah, okay, we started this out just as a side job to create our own income, but we really didn't see ourselves continue doing this full time. I was in my last year of law school, the friend that I started with as well, and we both thought to ourselves, yeah, okay, this is nice, but we want to do some other things. She had a nice offer from a big law firm. I wanted to study some other things as well related to business. So we had two choices. What could we do? Either we pulled the plug, just cashed out and called it the day and said, okay, this is nice, but we're gonna stop it. But we thought, this thing actually, it has some potential. We conquered quite a bit of the market in about a year. Why don't we just get somebody else to run the business for us? That would be a marvelous idea. So we started out our search, contacting our network of friends, and lo and behold, eventually we did find somebody who was actually interested in continuing the business that we set up. All right, we arranged it, we gave her part of the shares, we made her the manager of the thing, and then subsequently we just proceeded to like literally throw her under the bus. We just gave her the company, and I realize now, looking back, that we just gave her the company expecting that she would know all the little things that made our business different and that made our business stick. Basically, what made us different is the fact that we had this nice, flexible strategy. We had good personal contact with our students, but also we got 90% of our business through simple Google AdWords. We never told her a word about our Google AdWords campaign. She had no idea how it worked, nor could she, because we never explained anything to her. So basically, fast forward another 10 months, we had quite some nice reserves that we could have cashed out if we had just quit the company, but we continued with her, we brought her into the business, and she burned through all of this in slightly under 10 months. So that's the reason why I keep this ruler on my desk, because it reminds me of quite a bit of things. One of it is, always communicate clearly. If you ever start up your own business, and it's probably going to be way bigger and way more complicated than the little stuff that I did back in college, don't expect people that you bring in to know what your business is about. You know your business, but the people you bring in, you need to explain them everything. No matter how easy it seems to you, that's because you built it from the ground up. Even something as trivial as running a private tutoring firm, doing some advertising, hiring some teachers, it's really easy, but if you've never done it, they don't know how it works and they don't know what makes you different. So that's the reason why I keep this ruler, because also in the job that I have now, clear communication, telling people what you want in a project, what you know, how you see things moving forward, you can't expect them to just know that. So that's a very important lesson that I learned. Another lesson that I learned is, please be mindful of the impact that the stuff that you do professionally has on your family and the people around you. As I mentioned at the start, the place where we were doing 60, 70 hours a week of tutoring was also the apartment that I shared with my girlfriend back then, where we just moved in and started living together for the first time. That was really, really difficult for her. If I look back, that really wasn't a smart choice. She didn't know these people. They were part of the little business that I started, but they were all over the place. There were people in our bedroom, basically our spare bedroom. There were people in our kitchen. There were people in our living room. It wasn't an office. It was just our apartment where we put up some tables, and there were people all over the place. So looking back, the two important lessons definitely are communicate clearly with people that you bring in the business and be mindful of the impact that it has on your personal life. So basically, that's the reason why I keep it on my desk. Now, moving to a policy perspective, why is failing forward important for us? What you see on this slide is a graph that explains basically a benchmark of the Belgian Flemish startup ecosystem in a European perspective. Okay, yeah, the pointer is going to be horribly unclear. So basically what you're looking at is this part. It's called opportunity detection. My bad, the slides are in Flemish, but I don't have the English version. This is where we, as you can see, really underperform the benchmark of the European average. Why is this? Opportunity detection, the fear of failure is a big part of that. People in Flanders are deterred from starting a company simply because the perception and they're scared of failing. What's also very important is the cultural support. I have another nice example of this. A startup that I'm quite familiar with, that some of you might also know, their name is Turbulent. Actually, the organization that's hosting this lovely event, Startups.be, sent them to, I think it was in Chile or someplace in South America last year, for the Startup Nation Summit. And they actually ended up winning it, which is quite a nice achievement. One of the guys that founded the company, Jasper, he's a roommate back then in 2013. He was one of my roommates, and I already know him from high school. But not a lot of people know the story about this guy and this now quite successful company. I think they've hired like 10 people or something. But back in 2013, when he started it out, he and I were living together, and he was working for this company in Leuven called Materialize. It was like a financial controller. He studied applied economics. And when he wanted to commit to working for Turbulent full-time, really starting it out, you had to have an idea of the sort of flag that his mom gave him for even considering to do this. He really, really had to give like very long, very thorough explanations to his mother why it would be a good idea to quit his daytime job, which made him a nice wage, and to go and start his own company. That is what you see on this slide in the dot that means cultural support. It means that when you tell your parents that you want to be an entrepreneur and you want to do something yourself, start your own company, that their reaction is going to be something like, yeah, that's a very nice idea, but just don't do it. It's too much of a risk. Why would you even consider it? You're getting paid. You can always do this later. And then you get snuck into this little gold cage and it never happens. So basically, that's why we have Failing Forwards and all these other events to change the cultural support for entrepreneurship in Flanders. Because that's really important. Because if people don't start companies, we're not going to have employment in 5 to 10 years. So it's really important that we flip this culture around. And it's not only the fear of failure, it's also what was mentioned before, that you can be successful. If we see an entrepreneur that's successful, the first thing that people think is, this guy, he has to be a fraudster. There's no way he could have made all this money just doing it by the book. That's something that needs to change as well. We need to be proud of people that are successful. They need to be examples, not to be ostracized because they did something, they took a risk, and they made some money off of it. Money isn't bad. If you do something that's honest, that creates value, that people want to buy, and you get paid for it, you should be willing to learn from these type of people. And that's also part of cultural support. This is another diagram. It's basically from the same European study. We're part of, I think, 2-3 European benchmarks that are hosted by our agency, Flanders Innovation and Entrepreneurship, as Karen already mentioned. If you're interested, some of the people are in the venue. You can always talk to them later if you want to know more about the study. Here you see the same thing. It basically says, one shouldn't start a company if there's a risk that it won't work. And we're at the top. If that's your mindset, you're not going to have a lot of companies. Also, the general opinion about entrepreneurs and self-employed people, we're also at the bottom. That's what I just talked about. If you're doing well, it's not good. If you're doing bad, it's not good. You have to be average. And basically, nobody wants to be average, so nobody starts companies. Now, moving on. Why did I put this guy on the slide? Because I think it's a pretty famous quote about failure. It's Michael Jordan saying, yes, I took a whole lot of shots. I made a lot of them. You see them on a lot of highlight reels, but I also missed an awful lot of shots. And basically, the only reason why I'm so successful is because I took a lot of shots, I missed a lot of them, but I kept shooting. That's nice. This is a nice quote. Some people might know it, but I have a movie that I think that's even better. Why I want to show this to you? Because I want to tell you 3 things about it. But first, I'm just going to show it. All right, so now you saw it. It's a guy from the LA Lakers that takes a shot. Basically, it's a situation late in the game. There's a guy defending him, and he takes a 3-point shot. He shoots it, very difficult shot, over a guy. He sees it go towards the rim, and even before he sees it goes down, he just turns around and goes, all right, I made this. It's in the bag. And then basically it starts to rim out, it comes out, and he doesn't make it at all. And at the back of the tape, there's people laughing at him, the commentators like, this guy. He takes a shot, he thinks it in, he turns around, and it's not even going in, and they start laughing. So why do I want to show this? And then subsequently, it just goes like, god damn it, he shrugs it off and he walks back. Why do I want to show it? Because it has 3 important parts. You see this guy shooting a shot, it rims out, he goes like, oh yeah, I made this, and then the people at the back are laughing at him. The 3 things I want to tell about this is, why is it important that we change this perception? 1, all entrepreneurs need to be more like Swaggy P. His actual name is Nick Young, but you might look him up. He nicknamed himself Swaggy P because of his level of confidence. Actually, he's probably most known for, I think, dating the rapper Iggy Azalea, but he also plays for the LA Lakers. So as an entrepreneur, you need to have the level of confidence of Swaggy P and just shoot the shot. What's also important in this tape is that what we need to change is the commentators laughing in the background. Because it's a difficult shot, the guy misses it, but he took a difficult shot and you have to respect that. You can't just laugh at him, and that's the fear of failure. The commentators on the sideline should be like, okay, it was really difficult, but he tried it and he came close. I mean, it rimmed out. And that's what we need to change with failing forward. Change the commentators laughing in the background. And besides from the fact that you need to have confidence, you also need to learn to react like him, to just basically shrug it off and go like, ah, damn, I missed it, walk back on defense. But the next play isn't in the video. You want to know what he does on the next play? He just walks across the three-point line, takes another shot, and it goes in. And that's the message that I want to give in this presentation, and we want to give as a Flemish government to you. That we want to create a culture where you're allowed to create and to take really, really difficult shots. And we're going to make sure that the people at the sideline go like, I respect that. He tried it, it was difficult, he missed it, okay, but I respect that. And we're going to create a culture where you can take difficult shots. If it goes bad, you just shrug it off. Everybody else say, okay, you tried it. And when you go back, we want you to keep shooting. And that's why we're doing initiatives like Failing Forwards and other to change the perception and to create this culture where you're allowed to keep taking difficult shots. And people say, I'm glad you're doing this because the difficult shots that you're taking are creating the jobs of tomorrow. Thank you.